Okay, so it's just a couple of minutes or a couple of seconds away to 8 o'clock. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Those of you are early to the party, so thank you to Anita, Anthony, Beats, David, Dr. Liz, welcome along, Harple, John, Lynn, Neil, Nicholas. It's going to take me so long, Neil, to read through all these names. Thanks to Neil for joining us as well. Hi, mate, how are you?
Good evening. Yeah, very well, thank you.
Who else have we got with us? Prakash, Harple, Lynn, Nick, Siobhan, Steve, Vladimir, Zachariah. God, the people are piling into the GoToWebinar. Generally what we like to do, although we are here, we're broadcasting, we're live with you on GoToWebinar, so anything could happen. Sometimes people do wait until exactly the time that the meeting is meant to start to launch their GoToWebinar software. And as Neil and I have very painfully found out from time to time,
Yes.
Sometimes your computer, the internet, or GoToWebinar software, excuse me, doesn't actually load up as quickly as you want to the first time. So I'll just wait a little bit longer for a few more people to join us. It's good to see also so many people that were at the Breakthrough event just a couple of weeks ago joining us as well. So welcome back. Thank you. I suppose it will be a surprise for those that were at the Breakthrough event to realise I've actually got my voice back. Before we do actually
Is that good or bad though, Nick?
Well, I think it's a good thing. Kate would probably think otherwise. So, guys, whilst we're waiting just for a few more people to join us, could I please get you to do me a very quick favour? This is audience participation, just to make sure that it's just not Neil and I talking to ourselves, and you can't hear us. Can I just make sure that you can hear me? Could you just please type yes or no, or as the case may be, into that chat box? Okay, that's great. Okay, Anita, you win the first prize for saying yes, you can hear us. That's brilliant. Nick, Robert, John, Harple, Prakash, David, Zachariah, thank you very much. Dr. Liz, thank you very much indeed. Yes, loud and clear, she says. That's all very well then. We do like to make sure that you can actually hear us. And hopefully, by the way as well, I've started sharing my screen with you, and you can see the screen as well. So if you could also see the screen that says at the moment Neil Stafford and Nick James's webinar, live webinar, then if you could also just say yes as well, introducing the power of the mastermind. Brilliant. Okay, brilliant. Looks like it's all systems go then. So without much further ado, perhaps I can hand you over to Neil just to get things started with us.
Yep, thank you very much. Just after 8 o'clock, and as Nick said, thank you very much for joining this evening. And as the slide says, we are introducing the power of the mastermind live with you. And as Nick's gone through roll call and said hello to people and brought them in, I hope you realise it is a live webinar. And it's something that Nick and I obviously are big fans of masterminds. We've been participating in masterminds, running masterminds for a long time now. We wanted to go through a number of points in a mastermind. If you're thinking of joining a mastermind, wondering what a mastermind is, will it benefit you, this session will actually help or hopefully answer some questions for you. Yes, we'll talk about the mastermind that we are jointly running together, but at the end of this session you'll have the information at hand to make a decision to know whether a mastermind is for you or not. And even when you join a mastermind, you'll know how to get the most from it. So get yourselves a pen and a pad, sit back and relax. As you know, Nick and I do informal webinars. We make it easy for you to take in the information. And as we go through, start thinking about how it would affect and increase or have a positive impact on your business, what you're doing now, and even in your own life as well, because one of the masterminds, which I'll talk about later on, was a gentleman who was actually running his, believe it or not, running his internet business part-time and still working full-time. And that's because he thoroughly enjoyed working for his job. It was a vocation more to him. But he was telling us one time how the mastermind had helped him improve in his job as well. So that was an interesting one. He actually got a promotion by running an idea past the mastermind, which we then gave him ideas to take through to this new job interview, internal job interview, had got a promotion from it. So a mastermind is very, very powerful when you understand what it is, how it works, and how to get the most from it.
One of the things I think is going to be interesting, in fact maybe we can ask people to do this, Neil, is obviously we provided you with a very powerful document that was originally written by Napoleon Hill when you registered for the Mastermind. I just wondered how many of you have actually started to read through that document as well. Perhaps you could either just put yes or no, and it doesn't really matter either way. I do think it would have benefited you to have read it beforehand. If you haven't, make sure it's on your to-do list or your goal list after this event as well to have a look at that. So maybe we should...
Sorry, Nick, one thing I will say, written originally in 1928, most people will have heard of Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. This was his first pen to paper, so to speak, manuscript, which is the Laws of Success, which is actually like 16 lessons, with the Mastermind principle being the most valuable one. Both him and Andrew Carnegie, who actually commissioned Hill to create these Laws of Success and Think and Grow Rich. And it's reproduced as is from the book that's in the public domain. So the language in it is still from 1928. And ladies, I will ask us to forgive Napoleon Hill because it talks about men, but in this day and age, you know, it is equal footing with men and women, and in this business it's equal footing across the board. It's the principles and the lessons you can take from that document that will help you in your business.
As Neil was saying, this has come from the Laws of Success. Also with Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, for those of you that haven't read it, I mean, there were two unique discoveries at the time with Think and Grow Rich. One of the first unique discoveries was, yes, the people that were researched in that particular book, they did have certain things in common. But the other unique discovery was not one of those people were born with those elements of success. And it is a fantastic read, Think and Grow Rich, with you know, and it's a timeless classic. I think is it the #1 best-selling self-help book, Neil? Think and Grow Rich.
That's the claim, yeah, across. And I think even though it's a claim, I think the number of years it's been going and how it's been sold and the way it's been sold, they reckon it's in the billions of copies being sold.
I mean, there are 16 elements of success in Think and Grow Rich. I mean, I'll give you my top 5, and I'll talk with Neil actually about maybe working together about putting our thoughts about Think and Grow Rich into more detail at some point. But 5 of those elements of success, you might want to write this down. 1, being decisive in nature. Not agonizing over decisions, essentially. Sometimes, no matter how much you think about a choice or a decision that you need to make, sometimes, you know, the answer will always be the same. But sometimes, you know, we've been conditioned into saying things like, oh, maybe I should sleep on it, or maybe I'll think about it. Well, sometimes the answer is the answer, no matter how long you think about it, or no matter how long you ponder over it, or how many nights sleep you get on it. I mean, look down and look at the clothes you're wearing. What colour are they? Well, you know, they're not going to change colour overnight. You know, they're still going to be the same colour. I mean, I'm wearing a black shirt and I'm wearing blue jeans. And when I get out of bed tomorrow and I look at the clothes I took off, there'll still be a black shirt and a blue pair of jeans lying on the floor. You know, sort of, it didn't change. No matter how much I thought about it, it didn't change at all. So being decisive in nature is one of those key elements of success. A burning desire is another. And no matter how many times this particular element of success gets rephrased, whether it's how big is your reason why or what have you, but if you've got a burning desire to do something, you're going to be successful with it. Specialized knowledge, you know, what is it that turns you on? What interests you? You know, what is it about your product? Is it a unique selling point? Specialized something. Discipline. We'll talk about discipline later, Neil, but you know, nothing happens until you do. You know, nothing will change until you make it change. And this is perhaps the biggest secret, I would say, with Think and Grow Rich, and also with the introduction to my book, Live Big, Think Large, Act Sensibly, was the fact that you can't just think about it, you can't just talk about it, you need to be disciplined to actually get on with it. And the fifth thing, which ties us back into Mastermind, Neil, is the fact that successful people surround themselves with like-minded people.
Yes.
that's really what brings it back. So I mean, there are 5 of those elements of success, and why Think and Grow Rich is certainly definitely something for you to consider. And do you know what? But I mean, if I just think back to one of my first businesses, when I was very much on my own, stumbling to make things work. I mean, and if I haven't told you, then let me quickly explain. And if I have, I promise I won't take too long about it. But one of my first business experience was when I was 17 years old, and just like Neil, I had an interest with all things to do with DJing. But at age 17, if you think back to most 17-year-olds, and that we're not very good with money, I had decided that I was interested in starting a mobile disco. So my first vehicle wasn't actually a car; it was an old Mark II transit van. And I managed to go to a used van centre, and I don't know what it is about the people that sell used cars, Neil, but they seem to be magicians with finance. So I managed to get this van for the discos on finance, but as you can imagine, I was new to driving. I'd only just passed my driving test, and the most expensive part of owning a vehicle was actually not buying it, not the monthly repayment, it was the insurance. And being in debt, I refused to listen to my dad. He told me that there were 2 ways to get out of debt: to spend less, to earn more, or possibly do both. Well, I kind of half listened to him. So what I did was I decided to spend less, and I decided to cut the most expensive outgoing I had each month, which was my insurance policy. And the very next day, I crashed that van whilst looking for a bottle of Coke behind the driver's seat whilst driving down the road. I mean, talk about immature, young and stupid. Well, the reason for telling you this is if I had listened to more intelligent people, I wouldn't have gone and done such silly things. But not only that, the very next thing that happened was I got an opportunity at the wrong time. And I had no van. I was up for some police trouble for driving without insurance. I had somebody else's van to pay for. Just at the point at which an old school friend of mine phoned me and said, you know, Nick, would you like to buy my disco kit? £700 for everything. I'm off to Ibiza. I think he'd fallen in love with a girl. Was deciding to do a summer season out in the you know, on the holiday islands, and I didn't have any money. I didn't have a van. So I remember phoning up my dad and saying, Dad, you know, can you give me £700 for this disco kit? And he put the phone down on me. So I phoned him straight back, because it obviously must have been a mistake. I said, Dad, you know, would you lend me £700 to buy this disco kit? And he said, right, if it's lending, Nick, and not giving, I'll listen to you. What's the plan? And I set about telling him how I could buy this disco equipment, and there would be an investment. It was £700, but also there was a return to be had, because not only would I get the decks and some records and some lights and some amplifiers and speakers, I'd also get 10 discos down at the local pub on the Friday night for the next 10 weeks, and that paid £70 per night. So I could pay my dad out of my earnings for starting that business. And one of the biggest mistakes that I think that I didn't know about at the time was the fact that whilst I thought I was self-employed and I thought I had my own business, I was still selling my time for money. And of course, we now know that there are other businesses out there where you don't have to do that, which is why running an internet business works so well. But I only found that out from mixing with other entrepreneurs, mixing with people who lived the lifestyle that I wanted to lead. I only got started with a successful home publishing business by mixing with other people that had successful home publishing businesses. So, you know, I think my masterminding started with networking. And from then, and having met other people that I wanted to aspire to be like, then I got invited to other masterminding clubs. And I think, you know, that's how I fell into masterminding and realized how powerful it was in my business.
And you know what? The stories are so similar. It is spooky, because looking back, my first exposure to a mastermind group, I didn't know it was called a mastermind group, and it goes back to the days when I was DJing as well. Whereas a group of us used to meet once every 2 months, and as good DJs did, down at the local pub, back room of a pub we used to hire. Well, we got it for free because the landlord knew that we'd be ordering beer while we had a chat. But we used to speak about, discuss the bookings that we'd had, if anything had gone wrong or what had gone right, and we'd talk about the good and bad venues of the area. If somebody worked in a new venue which had 3 floors and the function room was on the 3rd floor, and the only way to get to it with equipment is up the fire escape and no lift, then you'd tell other people about it, so they'd be aware if somebody rung up and said, I'm having a disco here, you knew what type of building it is and could price accordingly. We'd talk about new equipment. Yeah, we'd talk about how to help each other out. For example, if one was booked on an evening and we had a phone call in, who could we refer somebody to, knowing that that person would get looked after? Now, in some cases, there was a commission paid for the referral, but in most cases, because it was a small group, we knew that the person would get looked after. And this went on for a number of years that we were DJing, and it wasn't just things like the mechanics of DJing. We'd also talk about insurance, liability, that type of thing. Insurance on vans, Nick, we could have helped you back then.
Yeah.
And also you'd ask questions as in, this happened, how would you handle it? So for example, if you hadn't taken a deposit or got payment before the event, and they got to the end of the evening and say there was a dispute on paying, which, touch wood, we never had, but I know some people did. The questions were, how would you handle it? And people could give their expertise and their experience and help each other. So without knowing what that was, or what it was called back then, so we're talking late 80s, early 90s, that was a kind of mastermind which helped us grow our business and helped us develop our business.
And a mastermind does start with just 2 brains.
Yes.
I mean, it multiplies up from there like compounding interest, but it just does start with 2.
It does, and from there, obviously, then into business. And as I came out of DJing full-time, working in the record industry, I went into corporate world. And again, not formalized as a mastermind, but you'd have a group of you who would meet once a month from various parts of the business just to talk through what's going on, what's happening in your part of the business, things that you've come across, struggles that you've had, problems that you had, successes that you had, and you swap stories. And it's quite funny, actually, because the group of people who I did that with, there was about 8 of us at that time. To this day, 4 of us who no longer work for the same company, in fact only one is there now, we meet up twice a year just for a meal and a few beers and chat about what we're doing now. And so that's a sort of informal mastermind where we talk about business, we talk about life, we have, it's a catch-up, but inevitably we talk about careers and business and swap ideas still. So it's funny how things happen for a reason, or there's paths that you choose lead to where you are today. And as I've talked about, I've been fortunate to be a member of a number of masterminds over the years. I've flown over to the United States 4 times a year for a 2-day sit in a room with my peers and other people in business, where we've done exactly that, just talked about what we do, what we're doing, and what we need help with. And it's at those points where you look back and go, okay, then I can directly attribute the success I had here to ideas I got in the mastermind. I can directly attribute success I had in my corporate career when I had meetings with my peers and people that I, bashed heads with, so to speak, over ideas. And with a mastermind, it's not just about the technical aspect. How do I do something? Well, yeah, there's always somebody who knows how that's been done and can help you. But it's other things, which is general business strategy, the way you think as well, because being in a mastermind with other like-minded people, now when I say like-minded people, the ones who think very much similar to yourself, even if they're in different businesses, they can help you stretch and think bigger, help you have, and I've seen it, more belief in yourself as well. So it's not just the here's how you do it, it's the thoughts behind it, the thinking behind it, becoming a thought leader in your business that masterminds can help with as well.
There are many benefits of membership, as Neil was just discussing. I mean, one of the fantastic takeaways that I've got from the masterminds that I've been in isn't just about new ideas. It's not just about people say that this is my biggest problem, how would you overcome it? But it's also, for me, it's about getting a different perspective and a different viewpoint
Exactly.
from other people in a group. And it's amazing how you can all be in different niche markets, as Neil was saying. In fact, there are software developers, there are IT contract owners, there are somebody from a cleaning company. Sometimes we all go through the same worries, fears, problems in a very different niche market to each other without actually knowing it. Maybe the jargon and the lingo is all different, but actually there are so many similarities. And one of the things I like to do is to get the perspective of another marketer when I'm about to launch a product, when I'm about to do something, and maybe have that what we sometimes refer to as 20/20 hindsight before we actually go forward with something. So there are many benefits of Mastermind, but one of the other clear advantages, I think, is the fact that you become accountable. Many of you will have heard the story about when I decided to go to a joint venture dinner in London, and I wanted to do a joint venture with many of the people around the table. And when it got to my turn to introduce myself, I just blurted this garbled message out that my name was Nick, I run a club for internet entrepreneurs, but next time you see me, I'm going to be 3 stone lighter and I'll have done a wing walk. And they would say, you what? What are you talking about? And I thought, well, do you know what? I'm now accountable to all these people around the table. There's no way that I can walk back in this room having not done what I said I was going to do. And that accountability to actually make sure I did what I promised, and complete the goal that I'd set myself, was something that got me through.
It isn't. What I found with Mastermind membership, whatever Mastermind you go into, as Nick was alluding to there, I like it, but the saying which says you can't see the wood for the trees, which means sometimes you're too close to your own project to spot some of the hurdles or things that may trip you up as you launch. And having a group of people from different experiences, whether in business and life, just having a listen to what your experience of your project is, having a look at maybe something you've drawn on a whiteboard or handed out, that collective group of people looking at it with fresh eyes, they're looking from the outside in, and then giving their feedback, can actually turn a project which may either fall on its face, it doesn't happen often, or may succeed but not at the rate that you wanted. They can turn that into a winning campaign as well. It's interesting because any single campaign that we've ran when we're being a member of a mastermind, we just took it to the masterminds, right? This is what we're going to do. This is how we're doing it. This is what we want from it. Tell us the potential hurdles. Tell us potentially where this could fall down. And people have different experience themselves, different perspectives, and giving that information to you it's gold, for want of a better word. Nowhere else in the world could you get that.
The ideas, the problem solving, it's invaluable when it comes to masterminding. But believe it or not, finding decent mastermind groups, and especially with internet marketing right here in the UK, has been extremely tricky. In fact, Neil and I first got speaking about a mastermind, I don't know, way back when, and a friend of ours, Tom, was also involved, and it started off being very informal and dare I call it underground,
Yes.
to a certain degree as well. So the idea of us having a mastermind and wanting to share the ideas with the mastermind with you has been kind of in the pipeline for quite a while, but only through attending an informal mastermind has it got to this point of moving things forward through goal setting and encouragement and accountability, etc., etc. So what we thought we'd put up on there is, what are the benefits? Why would anyone want to be in a mastermind? Well, I think there are things that hold people back. It could be lack of ideas. It could be huge problems. It could be, not seeing the wood for the trees, not understanding the power of goal setting, maybe not having enough encouragement in a home environment, maybe not having enough encouragement in a work environment, not being accountable to anyone to actually turn up and get on with it. But when you put all those things in, the results that you get from being in a mastermind way give you a return on in investment, which actually brings us on to what we've spent in the past and what other people are setting masterminds up for. Because I'm not sure if you actually sort of seen what else is out there at the moment, and the results actually might shock you.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, because we can talk about the benefits of Mastermind, and you look at some of these figures and you think, flipping heck, why would people pay that? But it's not just what we articulate on the other screen. It's Nick talked about the accountability and the achievement and the encouragement as well, because in a group of people, if you think about it, in normal everyday life, if you have a win, if you have a great project, you have a great launch, who can you tell? Who's going to be your cheerleaders? Not only cheerleading, but the information they help you as well. And the figures on the screen are some conservative, not estimates, these are true figures of what people will pay to join a mastermind. And the lady at the top, Ali Brown, you may have heard of her, $12,000 is her lowest one, $100,000 is her highest one. If you search for that online, you can find it. GKIC, Glazer Kennedy, Inner Circle, they start at one of the lowest ones at $14,000, and that's for a group of around about 30 to 40 people in that group for $14,000. I was with Dan Kennedy and Bill Glazer in their mastermind, which had 18 people in it and was, shall we say, significantly higher than that, but worth every single penny. Greg Davis in the affiliate marketing space, $15,000. Fabienne and I know her husband Derek, they start at $15,000 the lowest. The most popular one is $25,000, going up to nearly $100,000 again. Christian, $47,000, and in the UK here, Chris Cardell has run and has a number of coaching and mastermind levels right through up to £20,000. So a significant range there of prices that people will pay to belong to a mastermind. And it brings it back to, why would people pay? There's got to be a benefit for people to invest in that, and the reason why they are that much is because of the value that people get out of them and the person running them.
The investment is tiny compared to the returns. You're absolutely right, Neil. And by the way, everyone, we're not saying these are the only 6 people that run masterminds. I mean, I've been involved with Mike Phil-Same, Yannick Silva on various masterminds as well. But generally, they are quite substantial investment figures. And I guess there's a little bit of a barrier of entry for some people in order to get there, but there's commitment, and commitment's hugely important. But I think the other reason is because actually, when it comes to how an entrepreneur makes their full-time living, it's not from running masterminds. It's actually from actually doing the business that they run rather than teaching it. And for that reason, the price goes up, and the number of people within a mastermind is generally quite, it's not thousands of people generally. I know at some levels of GKIC there might be a few hundred people in there, but generally mastermind groups should be a boardroom table, and that's kind of it.
Yeah, and that's why I completely agree with the best masterminds I've been involved with, the ones which are the smaller numbers, sit round a table, obviously non-threatening, private environment between a group that gets on and is gelled with each other, and the sole purpose there is for the help and betterment of each person in that business, whether that's through business strategy, whether that's through business tactics, whether it's through getting your head in the game, believe it or not. Your peers will help you do that, especially if you had, say, having a downtime. Believe it or not, you've had a couple of things go wrong. We're not sugarcoating this. You're in business, and if you're doing stuff, things will go wrong. And when things go wrong, you turn to your mastermind group and say, right, done this. This is the result. Wasn't what I was looking for. How do I better it? How do I improve it? How do I get through this? And it's having that group of like-minded people who will not only jump in and help you, but will give you the support and encouragement to get you back on track when things do go wrong. And when things are going right, they're the ones who will be cheering behind you, saying, yeah, you can do this, build it, grow it, and then give you the help, support, tactics, techniques, information to help you grow your project, your business.
Now, some of those figures on the screen, by the way, if you're thinking to yourself that's out of your reach, and I've got something comforting for you to know, and that is that don't worry, whilst that is something that other people do, you'll be quite pleased to hear that Neil and I have thought about the investment in our mastermind group quite strongly, and you can be rest assured that you won't have to find such a substantial investment to get started. I don't know if you want to add anything to that, Neil, at this time.
No, and we'll give you the reason why it's the amount it is, and I think you'll be quite pleased for the reason why we're doing it at the investment we've chosen.
But I think you're going to find that joining a mastermind, whether it's myself and Neil, whether it's somebody else that's in your niche, it's knowing that there's a huge opportunity that is there for you, and I strongly suggest that you consider that opportunity. But the problem is that sometimes when we have opportunities like these arrive, as soon as we see that opportunity, the problem is the fact that we get some blockages put in our way, 3 walls, if you like, that get put up between where we are right now and that opportunity. Those walls have got names, and what I want to do is I want to expose those walls to you, tell you what they are, and then tell you how you can obliterate them, being the entrepreneur that you are. So the first wall is knowledge, knowing how to overcome a task or a problem, something that we already know a mastermind group can give you. The second wall is fear. You don't know what's on the other side of the wall. Sometimes that causes us to, causes inertia, and we don't actually get around to overcoming our fears. And the other fear, or the other wall, is money. Not having the money to get started or for an opportunity. So what I want to do is I want to show you how successful people, the only thing that they do differently to unsuccessful people is they simply learn how to handle those walls that always come up between themselves and an opportunity. So let's go through them one at a time. So the first one is knowledge. So let's actually sort of go and have a look at where we get knowledge from, Neil. Well, traditionally we go to school as children, we go to college, maybe we go on to university. They're 3 places that we can get knowledge. Yep. Now, unfortunately, whilst colleges and universities and schools are getting better at teaching business, what they don't necessarily teach is the information publishing, the direct marketing, the website traffic, A level, or this is specialized knowledge. And remember, if we go back to Think and Grow Rich, one of the success elements is specialized knowledge. So it's difficult to actually go to schools, colleges and universities to get specialist knowledge on being successful with your business. Other places we can go, we could go and we could look at books. But if we could become wealthy and successful just by reading books, I think librarians would probably have the best paid job in the world, and they would be politicians and running the country and running business as well. So, I mean, yes, books are great. However, what we need to understand is there's only so close we can get to in a book as well. We have home study courses. We have information publishing. The very things that Neil and I sell, perhaps you sell them as well in your home business. So we can go and get knowledge from there. Other things we can do, learn by your mistakes. Now, how many times, Neil, have you heard, the practice makes perfect?
Yeah, it's one that's touted quite a bit, isn't it?
It is, but it's a lie. Perfect practice makes perfect. I mean, what would happen if you practiced the wrong thing about running an online business over and over and over again? Are you going to learn by your mistakes, or are you just going to repeat the wrong thing? Wasn't it Einstein that said insanity is really the continuation of doing what you've always done, but expecting a different result?
Yep.
So what we really need to do is we need perfect practice, because perfect practice makes perfect. I love using the analogy of driving a car. In fact, I want you to think back. Those of you that have passed your driving test, you've got your driving license. I want you to put yourself back in that driving seat of that car for the first time. Maybe it was your mum or dad's car. Maybe it was at work. Maybe you actually paid for driving lessons. But picture yourself sat back in that car. Do you remember what it was like trying to find the biting point of the clutch for the first time? Do you remember what it was like leaning round the steering wheel and putting the key into the ignition lock, working out where the key went? Well, now we know that we get in a car and we instantly know where to put the key without looking. We instantly know where the biting point is on the car without worrying about it or kangarooing off down the road. Okay, maybe you've got a push start button on your car like Neil's got and it's an automatic, but you get the point. Sometimes you get in a car these days and you can drive from A to B without thinking about driving because it's just natural. And that's perfect practice at play. And just like Napoleon Hill was saying in Think and Grow Rich, you know, being decisive in nature is now about mirror signal maneuver and changing lanes, not just, sort of worrying about changing lanes and putting your car in the right place. So it's making those correct decisions over and over and over. So that's perfect practice at play. So if you practice perfectly and you become decisive in nature and you start making those prompt decisions, and some of those right decisions are the little ones, by the way, the simple ones, you'll be amazed at what happens. But let's talk about, carry on talking about the method of learning for a second and where we can get knowledge.
Yeah.
Because the final thing I had on there, by the way, was trial and error. And all I wanted to finish on there was the point of, if you had two books, and one was full of mistakes, and one was full of the right thing to do with no mistakes, which book would you like to read?
Yeah? Yes, the one without mistakes, thank you.
But all of these are traditional things that you get preached to by maybe teachers, lecturers, parents, and family members and what have you. But I want to introduce you to a method of learning, a way of getting knowledge that has never failed. Okay? And I don't know if you can guess what it is, but let me tell you. And that is when a master takes an apprentice and he doesn't just show him what to do, doesn't just tell him what to do. He does tell him and show him, but then he gives the tools over to the apprentice and then watches the apprentice do what they've just been told and shown. And then you do it, you take over. So what happens to the second wall? Not only now if you've got the knowledge, because you've been told and you've been shown and you've practiced, but when that apprenticeship takes place, what do you think happens when you practice perfectly with your mentor watching you? Well, the second wall also disappears because you don't have fear anymore, because you've done it so many times. Maybe, I don't know, I'm thinking about apprenticeships now, Neil. I don't know, maybe when a plumber apprenticeship, maybe you're worried the first time that you would solder or a pipe together and you think it might leak. But when you've done it 100 times and your master's been watching you, you know confidently that you can complete that joint without it leaking. Put it into internet marketing terms, you know that you can confidently put a squeeze page together or put an ebook together or set up a pay-per-click campaign, without any fear at all. So by getting the right knowledge, you overcome the fear. Now, I just want to talk about the third wall that we mentioned just now as well, the money wall. Well, just think back to any time that you've been surfing the internet or you've been at an event and somebody's made an offer to you and you think everything's going along fantastically, and then wham, here it is. The first 10 people to run to the back of the room and flop out their credit card and give me some money. They can have this wonderful opportunity, and you think, well, I haven't got the money to do that. Well, what I'd like to say is, even if I think back to my first business, when Ryan phoned me and he said, Nick, would you like to buy this disco kit? I didn't have the money for that, but I knew somebody that did. So I got on the phone to my old dear papa and suggested that we did a business deal, because there's more than one way to finance something in business, and that's to find a partner. But how did I know that my dad would partner with me? Knowledge. So knowledge helps you overcome most of those problems that we find in life. And there are 99 ways to find a JV partner. It doesn't have to be 50-50. Knowledge will help you to overcome any obstacle that you may face, and then you can kind of banish those walls for good, demolish them and get rid of them and actually claim that opportunity.
I think it's interesting, those three walls are sometimes real in our minds, sometimes they can be real in front of us, but I know a lot of the times we build up, don't we, the fear in those walls, and we build up the amount of control that they have over us. Whereas if we, again, took the step back, we can find ways to gain the knowledge, overcome the fear, and get the money to invest in our opportunities. I know over the years, when I first joined my first ever mastermind, my paid mastermind, it was a stretch. It was an investment, it was a stretch, and we looked at it and thought, okay then, what will this do for our business? And once you take a step back and have a look at it and realize the advantages and the benefits that that mastermind would give us, not just in knowledge, but also in connections, in benefits, and help and support that we give, then the fear goes away, and the money then says, okay then, this is an investment which will pay us back many times over.
Indeed, yeah, you're absolutely right, Neil. So let's think about opportunities at the moment, because Neil and I were talking about masterminds, and we wanted to give you an opportunity where you could get knowledge and you could overcome fear. But I guess the one thing that we can't do for you is help you find the money. That's one thing that we can't do. But we can give you the knowledge, and we can give you the repetition and the not what you do, not just how you do it, but also so we're not going to tell you and show you, but we'll also show you behind the scenes of our business as well. In fact, are you all right, Neil, if I reveal what we have in mind for our mastermind?
Okay then.
Because I believe that everyone in the group firstly needs to set themselves a goal, and we believe that these are very achievable goals. In fact, the opportunity to join both Neil and mine at Internet Marketing Mastermind has already set you a goal if you're not used to one. Now, if you are new to setting yourself up in business, then by the end of the program, we want you to be able to walk away with a business that would bring you in 6 figures a year. Now, let me be clear with this. What this means is not that you will have turned over or made a profit of £100,000, but in your last month of the mastermind, your sales each month, when times by 12, would be more than £100,000. Does that make sense to everybody? Because I don't want anyone to get this wrong, but we want you to be having a 6-figure a year business. And that's the goal. And for those of you that are already in business, I think it's important that you have a goal as well. And that is that whatever you're turning over at the moment, whatever your sales are at the moment, we want to put a big fat 0 right on the end of that figure and times it by 10. So if you're already making 100,000 a year, let's add a 0 onto that and make it a million. If you're already doing 10,000 a month, let's make it 100,000 a month. If you're only doing 2,000 a month, let's make it 20,000 a month. I hope that makes sense to everyone. That's the goal of the mastermind. And Neil, you'll probably be able to better explain to people how easy it is actually, because if people are thinking, oh my God, 6 figures a year, you're probably best positioned to tell people what that actually is a month and then how that can be broken down.
Yeah, it's interesting when people say 6 figures a year, because if you break that down, it is just over £8,000 a month. Very quickly, because I did do this before, about 8,400-ish, 8,300-ish per month to give you a 6-figure a year business. And again, I shared this at the breakthrough event, that you can actually do that off 2 sales a day of a £47 or $47 product with 2 upsells and having a simple low-cost continuity in there as well.
It's less than £300 a day.
It is, and the way I look at 2 sales a day is, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. That's the way to look at it. Or if you want to break it down, one in daylight, one in darkness. It's interesting when you start looking at this, because by having those processes in place, and it is a process which we will show you and how to put in there. We'll help you develop that process, and then looking at your market. If your market then says, okay, then I can do more than 47 per product on the front end, we'll show you how to work that in. And if your market is okay, then the front end product needs to be less, we'll show you how to do that. But if you had to make 4 sales a day, that's morning, afternoon, evening and night. That's the way you break it down. A lot of people look at 100,000 and go, that's too big. Well, break it down. 8,033 a month, and as Nick said, round about 300 a day is what you got
Absolutely.
it to.
I remember somebody telling me once, and it was, I don't mind saying actually, it was Bill Myers back in about 2003, 2004. His business model had been making £1,000 a day or £10,000 a month. I remember him speaking at an event, and he said, you know what, I'm going to make $1 million, and you know what, I just want one customer to give me $1 million. So that's one way of doing it, but getting 1,000 people to give you $1,000 is something else, or getting 2,000 people to give you $500 is another way. So it's all about breaking it down. How do you eat the elephant? One mouthful at a time.
I remember a Bill story as well where they were selling this software. Now, I don't know which one it was. You might be able to remember, but they had a goal to sell 1 license a day. And if they sold that 1 license a day, if they sold 1 license a day, they then, if anyone rang up or inquired about it, said, no, the next release is going to be tomorrow.
That's right. I actually phoned up Neil, and he told me that I was too late, and he told me to call earlier tomorrow.
Yeah, and that story is stuck in my mind. It's all about your position in the market, what you're offering the market, and whether it's a business market that you're going into or a niche hobby market that you're going into. Nick and I not only have experience ourselves in those markets, so we don't just teach and show and coach people how to do it. We are actually doing it ourselves in niche markets. We have the added advantage of having many years' experience helping people in a vast array of niche markets. At the breakthrough event, you got a small sampling in the craft market, in the speaking market, in the product development, which led into brand development and TV programs in one case, and in the radio market. Quickly off the top of my head, we've got people in the Asperger's autism market, in the fishing market, in the get a job on cruise ship market, in the golf market. So we've got a vast array and a vast spectrum of experience that we can draw on to help you develop your business.
And how are we going to help you to do those 6 figures a year? Well, the program, if we look at the features of the program itself, is divided into face-to-face time, where we actually sit down in the same room and talk to each other, and by meeting face to face, you'll quickly realise that dining and socialising becomes a big part of the success as well. To meet 6 times in the year, and for the other months and weeks that go by, is to have both group online presentations, a little bit like this one, or teleseminars, or also getting together for one-to-one calls as well. So the graphic on the screen there shows you how things would start off in November with an induction masterclass, have a one-to-one call, some group calls, and then there's something special I'll talk to you about a little bit later called the Millionaire Mindset Retreat, because both Neil and I believe that getting your mind set for success is probably one of the earliest things that we need to set right. And then is spread throughout the year with momentum building exercises and meetings and get-togethers. In addition to that, we want to show you the principle, how the Pareto principle works with, if we can find experts in their niche to come and make presentations about their expertise and share the 20% of what will give you the 80% of the results, that's what 20% learning is. So we're committed to giving you the key facts that have the biggest results as well. So it's what we're looking at is a year-long program. I hope that makes sense, Neil. I don't know if there's anything else you want to add to that before we.
No, it makes complete sense with the face-to-face meetings coupled with the online and the webinar/teleseminar training in between to keep you on track.
Okay, and there's a quick question that's come in by John as well. John, if you're already being coached and mentored by somebody, that's absolutely fantastic. Again, but coaching one-on-one is different to masterminding, and there's no reason why you can't take the coaching, bring it to mastermind, and we can add and layer that up. That's something that can be done as well, just to answer the question there. But I think one of the key questions that I want to answer that we're being asked right now, Neil, is why are you doing this? And sort of tell us a little bit more about, sort of what we're going to be, what we're expected to do once we're successful.
Yeah, and there's one word on there, reciprocity, because Nick and I have been successful in our businesses in various niche markets, and one of the reasons is we can give back our experience to other people. However, as with all masterminds where people invest, we're looking for people to invest in the mastermind to enable them to grow their business, but also pass on their experience, knowledge and support to other members of the group as well. Now, one of the things that we're looking for is for the successful members of the mastermind, if they are happy to do so, is to come and say a few words at a future breakthrough event. We would like you to come and tell about your experience, how you've grown your business at a future breakthrough event, which means you'll be then giving back to the people in the audience and helping them. Now, I must stress, this isn't a requirement. If you don't have to, if the thought of standing up on stage saying a few words terrifies you, we're not going to make you do that. But if that's something that appeals to you, that's something you would like to do, then we'd love to have you come and speak at a breakthrough event or just say a few words and give back to the people in the audience what you've gained and how you've grown your business. Whilst you're in your mastermind as well, the reciprocity still goes on, and you may be thinking, okay then, what have I got to give to other people within the mastermind? I've not got a six-figure business at the moment. I've not got a business that's doing $10,000 a month. That's okay. You have experience. You have life experience, personal experience, business experience, and you've got experience on what you've been doing to date. Now, let me give you an example how I felt once going into my mastermind in the States. We'd flown over, it's 2 days, and we sat in the room and people were introducing themselves, and believe it or not, one guy had 27 chiropractic clinics and he was franchising them. Another guy ran a big insurance sales force. One guy had one of the biggest info publishing health business in the United States, who sent out over 100 million direct mails every single year. And then another guy actually owned his own bank. In the States, the banking for deposits is the laws are slightly different, and people can set them up. He owned his own bank and was worth nearly $50 million himself. Now I'm sat there thinking, what can I give to these guys? Thinking they must know they've got big businesses. We're talking like the multiple tens of millions of dollars at that time. And believe it or not, we got round to the guy with the bank and he said, listen, I've got this problem, I'm trying to do this. And I thought, we've done that in our business. I can show you. I was thinking to myself, what he's describing, we've done. So I tentatively said, listen, I think I might be able to help there. So I gave our experience and gave it to him, and he's scribbled notes down, and I thought, okay, then he's taken some notes. He might be being polite, he might be just humouring me, but afterwards he came and said, listen, Neil, thank you very much for that. We've been going around in circles because this is something brand new that we've never done, and we weren't too sure how to connect the dots. What you've given me there will help tremendously. Now, when I first joined that mastermind, I was thinking, oh, what can I give to these guys? Because I was not valuing my experience in life, business, and what I'd done to date. So if you're sat there thinking, what can I give back to the mastermind, you'll be able to give a lot through your own life experience. And you may have a guy who asks a question, you think, I know the answer to that, I can help. And that's you reciprocating back into the mastermind group and saying, listen, here's how I can help you.
And by the way, don't think that everyone in a mastermind group is set up in business already. In fact, we've had a question, Neil, from Siobhan, who's saying that could this also work for people out there that don't have their own product yet? Sort of, would it help with creating a product? Yes, Siobhan, it could, and it will. And the power of the mastermind can help you to think of product ideas, to how to survey your marketplace, how to create the product, how to market the product. And if all else fails, then there are other things that we can help you with. Perhaps Neil will talk about those a little bit in the future, a little bit later on in this call. But the point I want to make is the fact that some people in the mastermind might be making more money than others. Some people might be making less, but that's not what this is about. It's about you being able to help with your experiences. It's not about necessarily how many products you have or how what your turnover size is. There will be people in business that are just getting started. There are people that have already signed up and joined our mastermind group that are already in business and want to take the business to the next level. So don't worry about thinking that you're going to be the new kid on the block, because this is what the Millionaire Mindset Retreat's about that I'm going to be talking to you about in just a moment. It's about bonding with the team and becoming part of forming those relationships.
In fact, Nick, I can give a prime example where we were thinking of developing a new product, and we brought that idea to the group. And I had a thought of doing it one way, and after throwing it out there and getting the ideas back, it completely changed how we were going to develop that product. Now think about it, if you're new and haven't got your first product out yet, imagine throwing those ideas to a group of like-minded individuals who are there to help and make sure you have the success with your product, who are in a safe environment and are giving you their views and their help, whether they have a successful business already, whether they are growing their business or starting out like you. They will each have their own views, experience that they can share with you, and you'll be able to jot everything down, take everything down and think, okay, then I've got what I need there to help me launch my product.
It's the only other thing I really want to come back to, Neil, is when we talk about reciprocity. I mean, we were bowled over by the response that Neil and I had when we came up with the idea for the breakthrough event, where we wanted to put on stage, or we wanted people to share their ideas for the people that we coached, so they could tell their stories and pay things forward. As Neil said, when it comes to reciprocity, it's very hard for me to pay back my original multi-million-pound mentor. He's got enough. He's successful enough.
Yep.
I want other people to be successful too, but let's be clear about this. Neil and I will benefit when you're successful, because people will come along to the breakthrough event and they'll see you on stage and they'll say and they'll look to myself and Neil and they'll say, "God, those guys must be good coaches." So there's something in it for us there as well. I mean, because if you're thinking, "Oh, well, it's all a bit one-sided. Where's the catch?" I just wanted to expose and show you where it was really, and it is the fact that we want to show off our successful students, and I think that's maybe probably not the most eloquent way of explaining that, Neil, but I think the reason we want to do that is because most people, let's talk about the white elephant. Most people that are selling internet marketing advice have never done it, and they've never helped anyone do it either. So it helps us with what we call our USP, which is, bring it on. Let me show you all our customers and let's show you how successful they are. So it helps us in the long term as well. Back to reciprocity. I always think that if you put the good things out in the universe, it will remanifest itself and it will come back. Now, I'm not being overly, rah-rah about it or what have you, but I mean, that's how it works for me. If you treat customers like you want to be treated yourself, things don't go far wrong.
Completely agree there, and it would be great, and I'm looking forward to see some of our mastermind members actually come back and talk at future breakthrough events as well. We are in a very fortunate position, Nick and I, to not only know but work with, help, talk with other people in a lot of different niche markets, and we will be introducing some of these people into our mastermind members as well, so they can learn from our previous clients, like they did at the breakthrough event, where they just shared a lot about their own businesses.
Well, listen, Neil, I'm going to have to put Marcus out his misery. He's asking a question. He says, "Come on, guys, cut to the chase. I'm interested with this mastermind group. What is the opportunity?" So let me be clear with you as well. This is not something that is going to be cheap. In terms of, and I want to say it's going to be reassuringly expensive, but what I do want to say is the price is the price is the price. Too many times I think I've been to events where, and you've probably seen it as well, that the first price on the screen suddenly gets discounted, and that's not going to happen here, okay? But it's £4,000 plus the VAT to join this program. But I want you to think about something. If you think £4,000 is a lot of money, what if Neil and I can show you how to double that, triple that, quadruple it, or perhaps even make that 25 times back the return on investment? That is the power of the mastermind. Now, I know there were some people thinking this is all very well and we want it for free, but in fact, write that down. Whether you're selling an ebook or a set of DVDs or a home study course, there will be people from time to time that they'll be on your email list, they'll be on your webinars, and they're going to want things for free. And those freebie seekers will consume your time, they'll consume your energy, but they will not learn. So sometimes there has to be this kind of entry point that actually says there's some commitment into the success of the program. But hey, I am confident. I know three things. Okay, the price is the price is the price. There's no last minute discounts, no price drops. Invest £4,000 to enroll in a brand new 12-month mastermind program with myself and Neil, and you won't have to spend another £1 on any other ebooks or DVDs or home study courses or yada yada yada. Plus, the other thing that we'll talk about is your enrollment can come with a 100% unique money back guarantee, because what we'd like for you to do is talk to us at the induction masterclass, which, by the way, is a 2-day masterclass. We'll tell you the dates in just a second. And if by the very end of being in the live masterclass environment, you think that the Mastermind group is not going to be for you, then just come and have a quiet word either with myself or with Neil, and you can have a full refund. You won't have to pay us a penny for the weekend that you've had, and we'll shake hands and you can part as friends, but at least you've come and you've tried. The other thing that we're being asked, Neil, is about payment plans. Yes, we have got a payment plan available, John. That's not an issue. And in fact, a little bit later on, I'm kind of jumping ahead, we are not selling the Mastermind on an order form at the end of this presentation. We're not wanting credit card details. This is not a hard sell. This is Neil and I facilitating and putting together what we believe our customers need and want. And the last thing we want to do is to snap our fingers and put an order form up. That's not the way it's going to work. So don't worry about that. All we're asking you to do a little bit later on is raise your hand and say, I'm interested, talk to me. And then Neil and I will get on the phone with you. So there we go. I don't think you're going to need to invest any more money in other courses, home study courses or what have you. And you've got a money back guarantee there. Because that is how confident Neil and I are in the system. That's the system, you remember, that both Neil and I use on a daily, weekly, monthly basis to run our successful home businesses on the internet. And if you are successful in applying to be in the Mastermind, but notice I say the word apply because that's really what we're drawing you towards, then we'll both work you hard, because both Neil and I want you to be sharing your success stories with us at the next weekend event. That is if you want to be. But do you want to break through and be successful with your online business? I hope so, because we're going to cover things like, the main 6 areas: product creation, copywriting, list building, email marketing, conversion, profit building, traffic generation, and attracting the right JV partners to be able to leverage up your business. So we are confident in what we're teaching. We're confident that you'll be happy. But let's face it, you need to be taking some action, and that's where those goal settings and that accountability all start coming into play. Do you want to add anything else, Neil, before I move on?
No, I think you've covered everything there, and it is an opportunity to sit down, let's say, with Nick and I, and as Nick said, at the end of this, it's an opportunity to apply and then have a chat with either Nick or myself to see whether this Internet Marketing Mastermind is right for you.
The other thing that I wanted to do with Neil was I wanted to put this webinar together for people that weren't at the Breakthrough event, which is where we released the details of our plans for the Internet Marketing Mastermind for 2014-2015. The last time I ran a mastermind group was in 2012. And I got a bit of stick from people that weren't at my live weekend event because it sold out straight away. So by putting on this webinar and recording it in the way we're doing, it gives those that weren't able to attend that live event for whatever reasons, whether it's a family reason or work reason or whatever, the opportunity to be offered the opportunity to join the group as well. Now, back in 2012, I wanted to do something really special for my mastermind group, and it worked really, really well, and I want to repeat it. And it's called that Millionaire Mindset Retreat. Now, it's a bit of a tongue twister, and I'll tell you how we came up with the name. And we came up with the reason for doing this because I wanted to take my students on a success trip with me. Too many times I'd read marketing materials where some slapdash guru wanted to show you his fast car, his big house, his foreign holidays, and most of the people reading the letter saying it's all right for you, but that's not the life that I'm living. So I wanted to take my customers with me, and it was really successful, and the group really bonded as a result of that. And all we did was talk about mindset. Come and go away and live. Let me treat you to a wonderful weekend. I decided to fly my group. There were 24 in the group at the time. Off to the Isle of Wight. We rented helicopters. We went off to a private airstrip. I'm putting some pictures up on the screen at the moment of these guys to show you the fun that we had. I mean, I flew them all out by helicopter. We went off to the Isle of Wight. We rented a hotel. We had the exclusive use of that hotel for an entire weekend. We wined, we dined, we networked, and we got in the classroom, and I produced what I called the Millionaire Mindset Success System, and again, it's not too rah-rah, but it's about getting your head in the right place and accepting success, and it's a way of writing goals and achieving goals. And we had such a fabulous time. And then on the way back, we rented an old London bus. We came back from the Isle of Wight by hovercraft and what have you, and it was a fantastic success. And it really bonded the group together. And I thought, how can we do that again for the new mastermind group? And in fact, you may well on my Facebook page have seen many of the group members and seen the videos and the comments that they put forward. So this time we thought, okay, I need to raise my game. I want to stretch myself as well, and I want to do generous things as well. So I thought, right, what else can we do? I want to go to Jersey. And I'm thinking, I've never been, but it's near France, it's down there on the Channel Islands. What can we do? So I've researched, and I found the only 5-star hotel that's on Jersey. And I'm thinking, that's good. I would like to fly the mastermind group out to Jersey. I think it's really important that we go through that same experience of turning all the tech off, having some time with like-minded people, the people that we want to aspire to be like, the mastermind group. This happens after the induction, so you will have met each other at least once by then. This is Longville Manor on Jersey, and this is where we're going to be spending the Millionaire Mindset Retreat. And in this time, instead of it's a bit further, so instead of taking helicopters, we'll go out by plane. But it's a wonderful experience, and it's a wonderful venue to get away, and it puts you in exactly the right frame of mind, and you're going to feel very privileged to be in the mastermind group when you go through this experience. But some of you will be thinking, okay, mastermind group is great, Millionaire Mindset Retreat sounds great, but come on, Nick, how much extra is it going to cost me to come on this Millionaire Mindset trip? And I understand your concern, and it's one of the questions that we had at the breakthrough event, and we didn't actually answer it with a microphone in our hands. Nothing extra. This is all included. This is Neil's way and my way of showing you that we're giving back to the group. Yes, there's an investment fee to get into the group, but I hope you can see that this is reciprocity at play. We're not just capitalists. Yeah, we're business owners and we want to make a profit, but this is all about your success in the group. And this is a key ingredient of the mastermind, to ensure your success. So the Millionaire Mindset Retreat is really important, and it's in there for you as well. Should you decide to join us, and should you be successful in applying to be in the group. So quite a lot of content there, but it doesn't just end there, because I know, Neil, you want to talk to everyone about another high value addition to the mastermind as well.
Yeah, as well as a Millionaire Mindset Retreat, where you're taken out of your environment, and the work that we do there is imperative, really, to help you get in the game and understanding how to grow your business. But if you're sat there thinking, I'm not too sure about the product or the business that I want to go into, then as a member of the Mastermind, we're going to give you a high-value turnkey bonus business to actually get you going. We're going to give you a lead generation system. We're going to set up an opt-in page for you. We're going to show you how to drive traffic to that opt-in page. We've got an email relationship system in place where we'll put email follow-ups for over 3 or 4 months. So when people join your list, they'll get email follow-ups for 3, 4, 5 months after they join in. They're already in the system for you. We have a sales conversion system in place, so when people join your list, they're then taken to an offer, and on that offer they will either say yes or no. Obviously, and if they say yes, then you will receive a high proportion of the profit from that sale, and it's all automated. Everything is automated for you, so all you need to focus on is follow the training to help you drive traffic to those opt-in pages. Now, we put this bonus into the Mastermind because we recognize that some people at this moment in time may be thinking, I'm not too sure how to get going. Now, the reason for this is not just for those who haven't got an idea to develop at this moment in time. It's also for other people who may have a business up and running who want to develop a second income to an existing business, or maybe leave it for the future so they know it's there, because even if you don't want to use it straight away, when you're ready as a Mastermind member, we can set that up for you. But it's important that we understand the value of this bonus, because although we'll be setting it up for you and creating the system for you, the process you go through of learning how to drive traffic to that business system will help you as you grow your own products, as you grow your own business, because you'll have experience of driving traffic, following up that traffic, and understand how the whole process sits together. So it's a bonus for all key Mastermind members, and it's important to stress that we will set that up for you. We'll show you behind the scenes how it works, but on each sale that's made, you will get a high proportion of the profit that's made, plus when a person buys a back-end product from us, you will also receive a high proportion of the profit on the back-end sale as well. During the induction weekend, we'll go into more detail and show you exactly that system, because it is sort of our unique proprietary system that we've set up, and we will show you exactly how that works on the 2-day induction.
Now, if this is a curveball for you, if you don't need it, that's fine. If you've already got your business set up and you don't want to use this particular bonus, that's not a problem. The reason we wanted to include it was for somebody that wasn't sure what they were selling yet, or as Neil said, they wanted a second business to set up and play with. The other thing that I wanted to quickly cover, Neil, as well, I guess, was, well, we've got systems in place. It just makes sense for Mastermind attendees just to tap on the back of those. But not only that, when you look at the power of the Mastermind group, and you look at the connections that Neil and I have as well, there are some other big bonuses that are involved with becoming part of a small, close-knit group of like-minded individuals. And that is the fact that you're going to get secret behind closed door information about the numbers that we put through our business, the conversion rates that we get, the ideas that we're working on, the projects that we're yet to release. This is kind of privileged information, but I've got a full disclosure policy for all the members of a mastermind group such as this. Now, with that said, there's a rule of mastermind, and I hope that nobody's going to have any kind of issue with this, and that is the fact that you are going to be receiving privileged information about my business, about Neil's business, and about the businesses of the other people in the mastermind group. So there's a rule that says, what happens in mastermind stays within mastermind, and it doesn't get revealed elsewhere. But so if we're clear on that point, and you agree to that, then you'll see those behind the scenes numbers on my business, and I'll show you behind the software that runs my company. In fact, we've got two Infusionsoft applications now. We've changed things a little bit, and I'll show you behind the scenes of both companies, both the American corporation that I've set up and the UK limited company as well. But not only that, you get to be on a priority shortlist for joint ventures. If you have developed a product or a service that may be of interest to customers on either my database or Neil's database in the internet marketing, the business opportunity, information publishing, or sports niches, or something for witchcraft or what have you. You know, we have databases of customers. So on a priority basis, you know, if the product is a good fit, then you get access to us as joint venture partners, and also have a think about the. Now, I always want to get the phraseology right for this one, Neil. It's the degrees of separation question, isn't it? You know,
it is.
If you have a product that sells well, and you sell it to your list, and we're marketing it to our list, I am more than happy to reach out to my contacts in both the UK direct marketing arena and also the American internet marketers that I got friends with as well. So, you know, we're talking about, you know, the likes of Matt Bazak, Mike Filsame, Chris Farrell.
I was in Mastermind groups with Ryan Dice, with Perry Belcher, with a lot of the American internet marketers. And
I'll say it as well. I mean, I've got, you know, I've even got Andrew Reynolds', you know, mobile telephone number on my cell phone, you know. So if you have a product that you think would fit that market, I'm more than happy to write a joint venture proposal to one of my contacts. And I think, Neil, you're good to do the same?
Yeah, we've got to if we bring a proposal together, we can do that. We can reach out to our contacts for you. And the 7 degrees of separation is a fascinating subject, Nick, and isn't something we could go on and talk about for a long, long time. But you are very close to other people in the business, the information marketing business, that we can connect you to.
So the general the way it works is, you know, we would contact them, we'd reach out to them for you, and then it'd be up to them to come back to you. But, you know, we'll nudge them a couple of times in order to do that. So it's just some of the bonuses. In addition to joint ventures, the other thing that we're going to make available for you for, you know, any suitable product, you know, is database access. Now, for myself, you know, we've got thousands and thousands of names and addresses. We have a deal with a list broker. I know Neil's been talking to the same list broker about handling the management of his databases as well. So if you wanted to go out and do some direct mail, so to speak, then you've got priority access to our databases as well. You know, and as a Mastermind customer, you know, again, there's no point writing to my database if you come up with a product about vegetarian meals, because my database won't be interested, but Neil might have somebody. So it needs to be a good fit. But what I'm saying is the offer is there for you. The other thing, to keep in touch with each other on a regular basis, we're going to set up a private Facebook group. So we'll be sharing files and photos and what have you there. You can do the same. And also put together a private members area as well. Every phone call in a group, we'll record and we'll put in the members area. Every webinar we'll record and we'll host that in the members area. This isn't the membership area of the Internet Marketing Training Club. This isn't the membership area of the Internet Marketing Review. This is a special members area just for masterminders. Likewise, you've got some one-to-one calls. If they're done on Skype or they're done on GoToMeeting or what have you, do you know what? We'll press the record button and we'll send you the file by Dropbox. So you've got a permanent record of that as well. So other than that, the initial induction weekend, we'll also video that for you too, and put that in that private members area. So you've got somewhere to go and get your club resources.
And I think it's important to note that if they can't make the induction weekend, that it will be recorded, and obviously they can go back and experience that weekend through the videos. And it's just as a complete aside, Nick, with this 7 degrees of separation, who we know an awful lot of people in the information marketing world. But this may bring a smile to some people's faces, it may not, but everyone who's listening to this is actually only 3 steps away from knowing some of the most powerful leaders in the world. And let me explain this. One of our clients is personal friends with Bill Clinton in the States. And obviously Bill Clinton knows all the powerful people in the world, so how about that? And on a second one, which may bring a smile to people's faces, is one of my fellow mastermind members in the States, James, is actually close friends with Anthony Hopkins, Eva Longoria and Paula Abdul. So if you think about it, you are 3 degrees of separation away from all those people.
I'm going to raise you Deacon Blue and Kim Wilde, you know that.
There you go. Fantastic.
Okay.
But it's a fun way of demonstrating, you know, this degrees of separation, and you don't know who knows who. And as Nick discussed, the things about access to people we could introduce you to and priority joint ventures and our database access is gold.
Okay, so we have a couple of questions now about some of the more practical aspects, Neil, if we could cover those.
Yes.
Okay, so we're being asked about a few of the dates. So these are really the crunch points, and I know you're going to want to write these down. And what I would say is entry to the group. You know, you need to commit to some of these dates. And case in point, the first date on the 15th of November, if it's your birthday or what have you, congratulations, you share the same birthday as Neil.
Yeah,
Neil's going to be
of November.
Neil's going to be at Mastermind on his birthday. Now, I understand that you might have somebody getting married or something. And that's probably the only one of the in your family. It's the only reason you wouldn't want to be at Mastermind. Other than this, you need to make these dates. The first dates are the induction of the weekend. It's the 15th to 16th of November. That's this year. I didn't put 2014 on the slide. Sorry about that, but it's in a couple of weeks' time. 15th and 16th of November, and that will happen in Reading. That's my hometown. We're 40 miles west of London. We're on the M4. We're not far from the M25. Not far from the M3. And we haven't had any complaints on people not being able to find us. So it's going to happen in Reading. And Neil's making the trip south.
Yes, I shall be coming down.
And we'll find some various accommodation suggestions for you from the big brand hotels through to little country guest houses or what have you. And that's 2 days. The Millionaire Mindset Retreat is going to happen on the 23rd, 24th, 25th of January, and we're going to meet at the airport. I would imagine we would fly you out on the Friday the 23rd. We'd stay away the Friday night and the Saturday night. We'd come home after having Sunday lunch, and again, full details will be given nearer the time or at the induction. Other dates: 14th of March, 16th of May. 4th of July, 19th of September. In fact, there's probably a date that's missing on there, which is the next breakthrough event that we're going to be holding. Again, details will be given to you near the time about that when we've got the venue sorted and what have you. Again, the investment's on there, £4,000. It's plus VAT, and as I say, we have got some payment plans available for you. And the key really is to say that if you're interested with this, I highly recommend that you at least raise your hand and you let us know this evening. And we'll show you the process about going through that. And the reason it's important is the fact that these things max out. This isn't like some event where we can just go and ask the hotel for a bigger room or to take down the partition wall or what have you. These numbers really do work best up to a certain number of people and then no more. We don't want necessarily at this stage to have a second group. We just want it to be one group that Neil and I can focus on at entire attention on making sure that you guys reach your goals and you're successful and we get you to that 6-figure-a-year goal. So if you're interested with this, please do raise your hand. And when I say raise your hand, I know a few of you might know how to do that in GoToWebinar. That's not what I mean. What I mean is, there's no requirement for you to flop out a credit card or anything like that at this stage, and it's a really simple application process. In fact, Neil, do you want to tell people how that works?
Yeah, and Nick said it is an application process, and the reason we do that is we need to know a little bit more about you, and then obviously you may have some more questions for us. So the application can be found at all the W's, internetmarketingmastermind.com. Just fill in the simple questions on there. There's some tick boxes and some free form boxes for you to type in your answer. We will then look at those application forms, and either Nick or I will arrange to jump on Skype or jump on the telephone and have a talk to you about what you're looking to achieve, what you're looking to do, where you are in your business. The chats we'll have are private and confidential. We don't share it with anybody else. They'll just be between us, and then we can make an informed decision between us whether Mastermind is right for you or not at this time. And as Nick said, you're not going to say at the bottom of the form, fill in any credit card details. We want to just talk to you first of all. So as Nick says, raise your hand, go to internetmarketingmastermind.com, fill in that simple form, and then within the next 24, 48 hours, we'll be in touch to arrange to chat on phone or Skype and go through what you're looking to achieve in the next 12 months, what you've achieved so far, what you'd want from the Mastermind, how the Mastermind could help you, and also how you could give back to the Mastermind. If you've got some ideas on that as well, then we'll talk about that. Anything else, Nick?
Yeah, I mean, the application process, by the way, does also detail the payment plans that are on offer. I know Zahid was asking a few questions about that too. When you go to internetmarketingmastermind.com, the first thing you'll see is a yellow button. Click that yellow button. It's going to ask you for your name and your email address, okay? And then you just click the Get Started button. And then that will reveal the main long form. And it's very, very simple, quick and easy to fill in. In fact, you can do it in 5 minutes flat. We just need to know your name, the best telephone number for Neil or I to give you a call on in the next day or 2 days. So we want to ring and discuss and talk through with you some of your answers. Now, for example, you'll be asked about any ideas you have, some of the hurdles, some of the challenges that you faced, your expectations, what you really want to get out of the Mastermind. You don't actually have to put war and peace into each box. 2 or 3 sentences is fine. And then during our call, we can actually ask you a little bit more about that, and then get a feel for what it is you're trying to achieve. Now, some of the people that we were speaking to at the breakthrough event, I was bowled over by the ideas. They come from a wide and varied background, from some people that do things to do with tech and IT, through to crafting, sailing. There's such a wide variety of niches that people are interested in. So what you need to do is just really put down a few of those ideas. And if you haven't got any, don't leave the box blank. Say, let's discuss it when we speak. That's absolutely fine. But if you can make a selection for any of the check boxes, any of the radio buttons, and then just at the bottom it says send the application, and then if all goes well, you filled everything in, because you should answer all the questions on there. If it all goes well, there'll be a little confirmation page that you see after you fill those questions in, and that just means we've received that, and we'll then get back in contact with you. And hopefully it's a pleasurable experience to actually have those questions asked of you, because this application form is there for your benefit as well as our benefit, because obviously we want the right people to be in the group. We want enthusiastic people to be in the group, and wouldn't it be right for us to talk to you and make sure you're right for the group, just as well as you've obviously spent your time on this webinar this evening learning about Neil and myself, and making sure that we're the right mentors to help you achieve your goals and get you breaking through to success and up and running and having that 6-figure-a-year business on the internet. I really do hope so. So the application process is really simple. What I'm going to do, so you're not surprised a little bit later on, there is a countdown timer that is on the website at the internetmarketingmastermind.com. I'm going to extend it by a few days. I had a chat with Neil just before we started this webinar, and it was set to expire midnight on the 1st. In fact, I think we're going to have a lot of applications in by midnight on the 1st. Neil's asked me to extend it for a couple of days, so people have got the weekend to perhaps watch this webinar on a replay. So that counter is going to change, so I don't need to be surprised about that, and it's going to end on Monday at midnight. The other thing that's going to happen as well is I'm going to put the replay of this webinar on that page too, so that's where it's going to appear. So if that happens in about half an hour's time, you know that I'm still working, and you know that I've made that happen. But I think if you've got any other questions, then the best thing to do, firstly, if you're serious about Mastermind, get your application form in as soon as possible. Certainly before that counter hits 0, if not, tonight is the next thing you do. Make it your goal.
I think it's a good point. Good point you've made there, Nick. Sorry to jump in. Which is, if you have questions, brilliant. Fill out the form. Hopefully the form will actually raise some of the questions you may have. And if they don't, fill out the form, send it in, then have your questions ready when we arrange the call with you.
It's the best way to do it. I couldn't have said it better myself. Okay. Other than that, I mean, all I'd like to say is that the last time I ran a mastermind group, I had an absolute ball doing it. I really enjoyed it, and some of those relationships and joint ventures that have come through. I've got firm friends. I've got people that were at Mastermind. Came to my wedding. It's great relationships are formed at these. As did Neil, by the way. Neil and Karen came to my wedding as well.
I did. Yeah, we did.
So again, it's it's where lifelong friendships are formed too. So I really hope you have enjoyed listening to Neil and I talk about the power of the mastermind, and enjoyed hearing details about what we believe is going to be one of the most successful and one of the mastermind groups that I think is going to reset the bar. We've already got so much positive feedback from the breakthrough event, and the mastermind group is just an elevation and an addition to that, because we want to help as many people as we can to be successful, and we want them to be able to share their stories at breakthrough, and we just want to show that we're good at what we do, and we can help people, and we do it in a ethical, honest, and we do it in a way in which I don't know, gives our customers the right work-life balance as well as ourselves.
I think that's a very important work-life balance. Get my teeth in there. And like Nick said, we both thoroughly enjoy working with people. Another benefit to us is that we get to do something we enjoy as well, and working with people, and form those friendships, partnerships, business partnerships along the way as well. And if you're thinking about this, then I recommend internetmarketingmastermind.com. Fill in the application, have your questions ready. Let's get on the phone and have a talk about it, and see if Mastermind is right for you at this time.
Okay, with that, everybody, thank you very much indeed for sharing the last 90 minutes with us, and we really do look forward to receiving your application forms in the next couple of hours or so. Thank you so much. Thank you very much.